What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Mint Collectibles. Welcome all my Geminites and everyone else watching. You know, over 50% of the viewers are not subscribed to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. We have a huge giveaway. This is actually the last video where I'm going to promote it before we hit our 97,500 subscriber milestone. Stay tuned to the end of the video. I'll tell you what the giveaway prizes are and what you have to do to enter. But you guys already know what time it is. Every time a new statue comes out that is pretty much the same character and same design as a recent one, we do a comparison video. So right here is the brand new XM Studios Sabretooth quarter scale piece. I just did a review on it the other day. You can check it out here. And then here is the most recent Sideshow Premium format, which is also quarter scale. I did a video review for this as well, and these guys are very similar. So we're gonna look at stuff like design, the sculpt, the paint applications, the price, the edition size, and we're gonna get some close-ups, some overhead shots of the portraits of the hands, and some side-by-side turntable shots. So let's jump into it, guys. Now, with these comparisons, it's always going to be the same thing with XM versus Sideshow. XM Studios is going to be more expensive. In this case, this piece retails about $900 USD, but it has a much lower edition size. There are only 399 pieces made. Now we move over to Sideshow with a price of about $625 and a combined edition size of $1,500. That's the difference. More expensive for more exclusivity, or a little bit more affordable, but a lot of other collectors are going to have it. Alright, so there's only so much you could do with Sabretooth. He doesn't have that many different costume design choices to pick from. The base, you typically get a snow base like Sideshow did. XM Studios did something a little bit different here, where they went with a Danger Room type of base. So let's talk about the overall concept. Me, I'm a little bit torn. I really do like the Sideshow base more. I think it shows more of Sabretooth's personality, more of where you would find him in his natural habitat. And I do like the design. You have the gray rock, you have the snow on top, you have this piece of tree bark that has what looks like Wolverine slashes in it. I think that looks great and it feels true to the character. Now, on XM's, I like Sabretooth's pose better. I like him in a more aggressive, offensive pose, rather than Sideshow's where he almost looks like he's in a defensive pose, like he's dodging a blow and he's going to counterattack. So while I like XM Studios' pose better, I don't really like the base as much as I do on Sideshow's. I think it's a good touch to pair with other pieces, but really, how often do you see Sabretooth in the Danger Room? And this is kind of hard to tell that it's a Danger Room piece because it's all a very gray metallic machinery. It doesn't really look like the Danger Room pictures, you know, that I'm accustomed to seeing from the comics or from the animated series. So it's a little bit of a draw. Like, I like XM's pose better, but I like Sideshow's base better. The costume design is the same, but let's get a little bit more in-depth of a look into the costume design. So if you look at Sideshow's, they have more texturing on this piece, right? If you look at the yellows and the browns, it has a leather-like texture throughout. It has some stitching and some fabric folds. And overall, I think that the costume looks really good on the Sideshow piece. Now, XM, they didn't go overboard with the textures. They have more of a smooth texture on the orange part, but they do have that leather texture on all of the brown parts, which are the stripes on his legs or the middle of his back, middle of his torso. It's hard to say whether I like more texture or less. There's some times where I think it works and sometimes where it doesn't. It definitely makes the XM piece look more like it's coming right out of a comic book, whereas the Sideshow piece has a little bit more realism to it. And I think that's just going to boil down to personal preference. I don't really think one is better than the other. I just think that they're slightly different when it comes to that aspect. Now, speaking of being very similar, let's do some overhead shots, some close-ups comparing the two head sculpts that each come with and their claws. Alright guys, let's start with the head sculpts. And I gotta tell you, the paint looks a lot different once you get these guys really close. The Sideshow portrait on the left has a much more brownish hue to it, right? If you look at XM's, it's got the bright blonde hair. The brown on the helmet is much more vibrant. I think the teeth are done better on the XM, but the skin tone looks like it's done better on Sideshows. And I do think overall, Sideshow really nailed the paint compared to XMs. I mean, look at this. This looks more professionally done than this one. I mean, you can't argue this. All right, here goes the maskless portraits. And again, I thought these looked a lot similar until you get them side by side. A lot more hair on Sideshows. Again, you have that difference in the paint jobs. I like the teeth on XMs here, but man, the mouth and the positioning looks really good on Sideshows. Yeah, the skin tones are done way better. You can see where this almost has a more like plastic look to the paint, where this one has a more lifelike skin feel to it. Look at the eyes. The eyes feel like they have a little bit more life in them compared to these that are just white. Right? Look at these eyes. Wow. Alright, there goes the portraits. Alright, now I thought the hands on both were really well done, but I forgot how large that spike was on the Sideshow version. And again, look at the paint. So XM has a vibrant paint job, and Sideshows is dull, but it has more contrast to it. It gets lighter by the fingers, darker on the forearm here. And if we look at the claws, which the hands and the claws look great on both, but look at the nails on Sideshow. You have like that brown tip, kind of like a bone look to it, where XM's is all black, which is comic accurate. This one has a little bit more of a realistic look to it. And the sculpt, I mean, they're similar, but I think, you know, Sideshows here on the left has a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more going on. I don't know, it's very similar. The pose is similar. But man. Then looking at the right hand, so the XM Studios one is more of a closed hand. Sideshow's more outstretched. Yeah, man. See, the Sideshow fingers almost look like dinosaur fingers or something. Looks like a velociraptor. XM's looks good as well. Both very cool, but I don't know, I'm seeing more realism in the Sideshow paint applications. Man, so at a glance, they look very similar, but once you get them up close, you can really see the differences, and I think the paint really stands out on the Sideshow one. Now, if we're starting to look at paint as a whole, if you compare that to XM, so Sideshow has more of a yellow look on his suit, where XM has more of an orange look. I think XM did good with the shading. You have different kind of hues of orange here. Sideshows is mostly yellow, but it does have some shading in the crevices, but it does feel like mostly one color. Again, I think it boils down to realism versus comic book looking, and I think that's where the difference is on the paint jobs here. Like we saw in the close-ups, Sabretooth has a more vibrant looking brown and a more yellow looking hair on the XM piece compared to Sideshows. And then going down to the sculpt, man, they are both very similar in my opinion. They are both beefy. They're both very muscular. The Sideshow one seems to have exaggerated obliques, and like this area here seems to be much more exaggerated than the XM Studios. XM has big quads, big biceps, but his chest doesn't look as muscular as the Sideshow piece. He looks like straight out of the animated series. That's the thing about the XM one. I think the physique complements that as well. Martin Canali's sculpt on the Sideshow one, the proportions are a little exaggerated, and I can see where a lot of collectors might be turned off by that, but you have to look at the detail. Like, look at the calves. If you look at the Sideshow calf versus XM, you can see that there's a lot more detail in the sculpt of that calf compared to XM Studios. Even if you look on the other leg that's bent, where you can see the kind of muscle structure going down his leg and then his calf as well, compared to XM, where it's just kind of a little beefy without as much detail. Now, each statue has a slight flaw. I would say the Sideshow head sculpt could have been better with the teeth. It doesn't look as clean as it could be. It almost looks a little bunched up, and that could have been done better. Now, on the XM Studios, he does have a flaw, I would say, where the mane touches the costume, where that could have been done better. So neither statue is perfect. each has a nitpick that I could use against it. So it's hard to say what's the better statue. Everyone's going to have their personal opinion. I personally like the XM Pose better than Sideshow's, but I like Sideshow's base better. I like the paint applications on the Sideshow piece better, but I like how the XM piece looks more like he's coming out of the animated series. So I can't really say which one I like better. I think you would be lucky to own either one of these guys. They both would pair great with any of the X-Men pieces from Sideshow or XM Studios. Let me know in the comments down below which one of these is your favorite. Also, this is the last video where we're promoting this giveaway, where we're giving away 3 prizes at 97.5K subscribers. The first place winner is going to win this X-Men issue 4, graded at a 9.8 by CGC, which is the first appearance of Omega Red. The second place winner is going to win this Alex Ross oversized Marvels hardcover. And the third place winner is going to get this soft cover omnibus set for the boys. All you have to do is be subscribed to this channel, leave a like and a comment on this video, and we're going to pick a random video where I promoted the giveaway to have a comment drawn during our next live stream this Sunday. Don't go anywhere. We have a playlist of all of my other statue unboxing and reviews right here. Thanks for watching. Stay minty fresh. Peace.